Hello, hello. All I have to say is, it's about darn time. Lizzo, my girl Lizzo. I'm going to tell you, I love Lizzo's music. I feel like she makes like some anthems, right? That just, it makes you want to get up out of your seat, move it and groove it. But we know Lizzo has been so strong on her stance about body positivity and loving your body for just the way it is. And I would have to agree with her. But here recently, my girl Lizzo admitted that she tried Ozempic. So she tried Ozempic. And she said that for her, Ozempic boiled down to one. I want to talk about with you today what she says actually worked for her. So I know some people believe that, Lizzo says she tried Ozempic, but she didn't lose her weight with Ozempic. And I know there are those of you who believe that's true. And then there are some people who believe that that's not true. I will tell you what I think about that later on in the video. But for right now, let's focus on what she actually said. These are her words on this podcast, Just Trish. She said, "I've tried everything. Ozempic works because you eat less food. It makes you feel full." I do agree with part of that. You might be thinking, well, how do you know? Well, I am currently taking the GLP-1 medication, Mounjaro. But before Mounjaro, I took Rybelsus. And Rybelsus is Ozempic in a pill form. And Ozempic and Rybelsus didn't quite agree with me. And, it does make you feel super full. I will admit that. Almost bloated it made me feel. And I didn't want to eat at all. And it just made me feel tired and just a lot different than I'm feeling on Mounjaro. But if you're an Ozempic user and it's working for you, I say do it. Go for it, with your doctor's approval, permission. If it's something that you can handle, I think it's effective. But she said that that's just basically what it does. And I'm not going to talk about that in this video, but actually Ozempic does a lot more. And I will share with you exactly what it does. But again, we're not going to do that in this video. Now, she says, talking about willpower, she says, if you can just do that on your own, which means, eat less food and get mind over matter, it's the same stuff. She didn't say stuff, but I'm saying stuff. Well, for those of you who are taking a GLP-1, we know it's not that simple, mind over matter. Our brain is not functioning when it relates to food like everyone else's brain. So if you have the disease of obesity, we know that it's not that simple to say mind over matter. So that I would have to disagree with. But for her, if you are enjoying this video so far, subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed and join me on my journey. Maybe that's true. So she said her diet was actually transformed. I remember following Lizzo, here and there on Instagram, and I remember she was a vegan, and I would see her eating Oreos and making all these, processed type of meals, I felt like. And I didn't really see the focus on whole food. So I would see her eating and I would be thinking like, I bet you she's eating a ton of calories. Well, she just validated what I said. She said when she was a vegan, she was consuming a lot of fake meats, and fake meats means your plant-based burgers, your plant-based ground beef, your plant-based sausages, and all those kind of meats. She said she would eat bread, rice, and she said, I had to eat a lot to stay full. I was consuming 3,000 to 5,000 calories a day. Now that is a lot of calories, and I'm not surprised because I would see Lizzo, making all those, snacks and meals she was making, and she would be exercising, and people would say, why is she still so big? She's always working out. She's always showing herself working out. And I always used to say to them, you cannot out-work out a bad diet. There's just no way you can burn all those calories. So when she was doing all those things and moving her body and still not losing, but I just knew that she was eating a lot of calories. So she said she was doing that as a vegan. So she said when she started actually eating whole foods, beef and chicken and fish, she actually felt full, and she wasn't expanding her stomach by putting a lot of fake foods in there that actually weren't filling her up. And I would agree with that. I have dabbled in, times where I was a vegan, a vegetarian, a pescatarian. And during those times where my eating habits changed and I cut out the meat for the most part, you rely on the carbs. You rely on the beans, on the rice, on the potatoes, whether it be sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, oils, a lot of the sweets you can eat that, don't necessarily have animal products, candies, some of the candies you can eat. And so if you're loading up on all those processed foods instead of eating the real foods, there is a chance that you will not only, gain weight, but you will, run your blood sugar level up, that you will, have high blood pressure. So, and I think that was the neighborhood that Lizzo was in before, she decided to change her diet. She also talked about mindset, and I'm glad she mentioned this because on my channel, I talk about the mindset a lot. And she said, I love to distract myself with food, with drinking, with problems that I would create. I stopped doing that. I just focused on me. So basically what she's saying is she threw out the junk food and the processed food, and she went to more whole foods. She stopped being a vegan, and you can be a healthy vegan. I just want to say that every vegan is not out there eating fake meats and eating, a bunch of processed foods. So if you're one of those vegans, shout out to you. If you're a vegetarian, shout out to you. But we know that there are some people that they just don't want to eat meat, and they're not, necessarily focusing on the whole food aspect of it. So, she recognized that she was one of those vegans. I love that because a lot of us, use food or have used food in the past to get us over the hump with some stressful, traumatic things that may happen in our life. And so a lot of us are learning to do something different. And it sounds like Lizzo has that mindset shift. Now, she says, she calls it weight release, right? Not losing weight. And she says, it's just science for me. At the end of the day, this is how she lost her weight. She said it was basically calories in, calories out, which is a calorie deficit, right? What Lizzo did was get herself in a calorie deficit, which I think is a great way to keep track of what you're eating, how much you're eating, and to see those pounds lost. So let's just do a recap. So this is what Lizzo said works for her. She confirmed that she did try Ozempic. Now, what point she stopped, we don't know, but she made it seem like she lost her weight, not with the Ozempic, but that she tried it. She's tried everything, which a lot of us can relate to on a weight loss journey. We've tried a lot of things before now. She said she noted that Ozempic had the ability to suppress her appetite and reduce her food intake. She emphasized a change in her mindset. She said she chose mind over matter. And she combined eating healthy foods as the key that helped her sustain her weight loss. And she actually says she's fine the size she is now, that she doesn't want to lose anymore, but we shall see. So she moved away from that high calorie vegan diet. So, and she's one of the people I always use as a reference when people talk about a vegan diet, because you could, be eating a vegan diet, eating Oreos and all those kind of processed foods, or you could be eating a vegan diet and eating a whole foods plant-based diet. So it sounds like Lizzo was more on the processed side, which if you were following her Instagram, you would have seen that. And she wanted to, change that. So she's basically saying she decided it's mind over matter. I can do this. Now, I'm going to tell you, some people have said, some of her fans that are a little bit divided said, she is a celebrity that has access to, a flexible work schedule, chefs, trainers. So they believe she could get that boost from Ozempic and then carry the rest on her own because she has all that support. That may or may not be true, but we know that in order to, go on a weight loss journey and get that extra tool or boost, you still have to put in the work. So I'm going to give Lizzo credit because she still put in the work to get herself where she's at. Whether she started off with Ozempic and stopped it and then kept it going from there, whether she, what she did. So I'm taking her as her word. She says that's what she did. So I just want to give a shout out to Lizzo and say it's about darn time. Now, here's the question. I also want you to tell me, do you think that she hurts the body positive movement? I also want to know, what do you think? Can you love your body and also want to change it? Now that's the $1 million question. Meet me in the comment section. Let me know what you think. I just want to leave you with this. No matter what you decide to do, what's going on in your weight loss journey, whatever you feel comfortable doing, I want you to own that. I want you to not feel embarrassed if you're using a tool to help you with your weight loss. And I don't care what kind of weight loss that is, whether it be a GLP-1, whether it be bariatric surgery, whatever you choose to decide to help you live life to the fullest, right? To live your life feeling healthier, feeling better. And with the consultation of your doctor, I want you to make the choice that's best for you. Whether you share it with one person, whether you share it with a million people, whether you keep that to yourself. Your journey is your journey. With that said, like the video and share it. Subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time I go live and upload a video. And speaking of live, I am live on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and Fridays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So come and interact with me, join me live. And I won't say goodbye, but I will say see you in the next video. And remember, slow and steady wins the race. Just don't quit.
Downsizing, Diva, and I'm here to stay. Feeling good, taking my TLP.